So today we are going to talk about properties of exponents. So I can use properties of exponents. Okay, so today we're going to learn exponent rules 1 through 3. Tomorrow we are going to cover 4 through 7. So the first rule we're going to talk about is the product rule. So what is a product rule? Product rule is when you see something that looks like this. I have 3 squared times 3 to the 5th. So a couple of things that I have to notice. You see my bases are exactly the same. This is what we call base. Bases must be the same. Must be the same, or else you will not be able to multiply them or simplify them at all. Okay, so that's what it must be. So I would write this in expanded form first. So 3 squared means I have 2 3's, right? So here are my 2 3's. 3 to the 5th, right, means I have 5 3's. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3's. So all I'm doing is I'm just rewriting all of this in expanded form. So notice now how many 3's do I have left in my expanded form? I have 7. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3's. Another way I can write that is 3 to the 7th. Okay, so first write into expanded form. Let's take a look at the next example. I have 2. Well, if there's no exponent there, what imaginary number is in front? 1. Right? If I have just an x, what imaginary number is in front of an x? 1. Same thing with exponents as well. So I have 2 to the 1 times 2 to the 6. My bases are the same, so I can multiply them or use the product rule to help me out. So write it in an expanded form first. So I have 2, so that means I have 1, 2, multiplied by 2 to the 6, which means I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I were to count how many 2's I have, 1, 2, different color for this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 again. So this would be written as 2 to the 7. Okay, do you guys see an easier way to do this? Are you starting to see the pattern here? Well, hopefully after this one, you guys are able to figure out and come up with the rule by yourselves. So I have b to the 5th times b to the 8th. Right, my bases are the same. So let me write an expanded form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have b to the 8th. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so now look, here's a hint. If you're still confused on the pattern, I have 5 and 8. Okay, so now if I were to count all of these b's up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have b to the 13. So this is equal to 2 to the 7. This is equal b to the 13. What do you guys notice with my exponents? If I were to take a look at just my exponents, what do you notice? So here's what I want you guys to do. Compare the first and third column using words, describe the relationship between them, right? So why don't you guys try that on your own? Pause this video, try to write the rule yourself, and then I'll show you the rule in a little bit as well. Well, the rule that I come up with is you add them. You add exponents. Right? So from your observations from the previous question, fill in the box and complete the sentence below. If I have a to the m times a to the n, it's going to be a to the m plus n. So all I'm going to do is add my exponents. So the rule you guys just discovered in the question above is called the product rule. Okay, so use it to simplify the expressions below. Why don't you guys take some time on your own, try these out. The next rule we're going to talk about is the power rule. So this is a little different, right? So it looks like I have 5 squared to the 3rd power, right? So how am I going to write this? Well, take a look. I have 5 squared, which means 5 times 5, right? I have 2 5s, so I have 2 5s. 2 5s. And this number outside is telling me how many groups of. So I have 3, I have 1, 2, 3 groups of 5 times 5. Okay, so from here, if you were to write this in exponential form, how many 5s do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this would be in exponential form 5 to the 6. Okay, think about the same patterns. Why don't you guys try to guess what this pattern is going to be? Take a look at your exponent. I have 2 and 3, and this one I got equals 5 to the 6. Okay, have your pattern in your head. We'll see if your pattern is correct. So in this problem, let's take a look. I have 8 to the 3rd, right? So I have 8 times 8 times 8. So that's one group. But in this problem, how many groups do I have? I have 4. So there is group number 1. I'm going to cheat and copy this. Here's group number 2, group number 3, and group number 4. So don't forget, I'm multiplying all of these. I'm going to put dots in between. So now, let's see, how many 8s do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this would be written exponential form as 8 to the 12th. So once again, take a look at your exponents, and I get 8 to the 12. How do you think I went to that? So hopefully you guys have a pretty good understanding of what this rule is going to be. Let's see if we're right. We'll do one last example, and then we'll see. So if x to the 5th squared, so that means my first group is going to be x times x, 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 and x. And how many groups of this do I have? I have 2 groups. I'm only going to copy this once. Okay, I'm going to not forget the multiplication sign. If I were to add all of my x's up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this would be x to the 10th power. So this is x to the 10th. Hopefully you guys have a pretty good idea of how to use the power rule from here, and you are able to describe the relationship. So the relationship that you have to describe is you multiply exponents. Okay, so if I were to come up with a general rule of what this is going to be, if let's say if a to the m to the nth power, this would be a to the m multiplied by n. Okay, so the rule you describe is the power rule. Use it to simplify the expressions below. So why don't you guys take some time and work on your own. All right, the last rule we are going to talk about is the quotient rule. So this is going to be, very similar to what we've been dealing with so far. Identify patterns. Hopefully you guys are able to identify the pattern from the get-go. So what this is saying is 6 to the 9th power, that means I have 9 6s. I have, in this row, I have 9 6s on top. The bottom row, I have 4 6s on bottom. So if I were to expand these out, well, can't I just simplify? So this can be simplified, right? Here, it'll be easier. So these 6s can be simplified. These ones, and these ones. So I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s. So I just rewrote them here. So in exponential form, that is 6 to the 5th power. Okay, so I have 6 to the 9 over 6 to the 4 is equal to 6 to the 5th. Try to come up with a rule right now before we do another example. So hopefully you're able to come up with it on your own. So let's have the next one. Let's see if your rule is right. I have 100 times 100 times 100 on top over, I have 100 times 100 on bottom. These cancel out, so I'm left with 100, right? So in exponential form, this is actually going to be how many hundreds do I have left? 100 to the 1st power, right? So 100 to the 1st. So hopefully you're able to see the pattern for this one too, right? What am I doing? I'm doing 3 minus 2, so I get 1. Let's see if it's true for this last one here. So I have t to the 15th over t to the 11th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna cheat. I don't want to write all those t's. 10, and 15 over t to the 11th. So I'm just going to do this, and then just add one more t. So let's cancel these out. So I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm left with t to the 4th. Does that make sense with the rule that we just come up with? Right, 15 minus 11, you get t to the 4th power as my exponential form. So if I were to describe it, you subtract your exponents. Okay? So if I were to come up with a rule, it'd be a to the m minus n. Right? I'm going to subtract my top minus the bottom. So this is what the quotient rule is. Okay? So here's what I would do. There's going to be 7 rules. So I would put them all onto one page. So if you turn to page 11 in your notes packet, there's exponential rules organizational chart. So why don't you write these 3 rules down, and then tomorrow we'll write the next 4 rules down as well. So the first one is called product rule, next one is power rule, next one is quotient rule. You can use examples like that I wrote, or come up with your own, whichever one is comfortable for you. So why don't you try the last one on your own, and then circle your level of understanding, and I'll see you guys the next day.